Good morning. This is Stuart Ryan with another The Ryan Report. And today, I do not speak truth to power. I speak truth to you, the American people, and to remind you that the oft-cited phrase, and it's cliched, of Dr. King, that the moral arc of the universe, though long, bends towards justice, is nothing more than inspirational nonsense. I also speak to the foolish proposition favored by most American pundits, historians, and political demagogues that we are a nation of laws and not of men, where the factual truth belies that idea as myth, because it is men who make and control the laws for good or evil. Today, I must especially turn my and your attention to our once respected American Supreme Court and its composure of a Nazi majority whose intemperate and fascistic decisions mirror those of the justices of Germany's Hitler regime, endorsing with enthusiasm and assisting in the very design of the Nuremberg laws and his later laws, which served in the consolidation of Nazi power. I said in a recent podcast that these judges should be wearing swastika armbands over their black robes, but that's not necessary. They don't need that to distinguish them, because the swastikas are just beneath the surface of their freaking unholy cloth. This Supreme Court of ours and its Nazi majority is worse as a powerful and deliberate judicial source in the institution of tyranny than that of the Trump-inspired and directed January 6th insurrection is, and their traitorous rebellion against the government and the people of the United States of America. The long string of their Trumpian regime decisions culminating in their recent endorsement of racial profiling and disregard of Fourth Amendment protections against search and seizure without probable cause or even reasonable cause is a tribute to their fanatical ideological adherence to fascist and Nazi conventions that fly in the face of our Constitution and our rule of law. In short, if we ever survive this existential onslaught of the extremist factions seizing control over our people, trampling on our democratic republic and its foundational values, these six parasitic monsters on the court must be prosecuted along with Trump and all his associates, sycophants, and loyalists for crimes against the United States. They must be brought to justice and, where appropriate, executed, just like the Nazi judges of the Third Reich were in the aftermath of World War II. Not many people are going to say that to you. Do I think this is going to happen? That we will save democracy and restore the Constitution? No, I do not. I have come to the sad conclusion that resistance to this existential and growing oppression is, on present evidence, both futile, cumbersome, and too little too late. Realism dictates my reporting, my chronicling, with absolute honesty, of the demise of the Constitution, rule of law, and democracy in America, ending our 250-year experiment so well undertaken by the framers. Is it hyperbole? Is it an exaggeration? Is it some unconscious need on my part to deliver a harsh negative judgment culminating in what I conceive to be a national destruction? No. Most of us who still think and still analyze will recognize that the courts, the judiciary, with some reservations, at least in the lower courts, represent the last bastion of retaining the core values of our democracy, as all of the means of power are in the hands of the dictatorship. That is a fact. But pro-democracy litigation is sadly reactive, after the fact, after the damage is done, and is largely ineffective, as Newsom versus Trump demonstrates, though very few actually understand the case. Congress no longer exists in real terms. It's controlled by Trump and remains dormant and pliable. The Justice Department is controlled by Trump. The FBI is controlled by Trump. Trump is right now creating a federal personal extrajudicial police force named ICE, just as Hitler had the SA, the SS, and the Gestapo. Trump has replaced every key military commander with those who will obey his every order despite their oaths to the Constitution. Trump owns state media and Fox, so the propaganda goes on, as it did during Hitler's time. And so forth, and on it goes. For those optimists relying on free and fair elections in 2026 as a means to restore at least a measure of balance and democracy, please think again, folks. I predict that there is no way on earth or in heaven that Trump will allow free and fair elections to take place. He is acting right now to corrupt and voter suppress them. And if he fails in that, and he gets the sense that voters are or will turn against him and away from him, he will attempt to cancel the elections altogether, conjuring up fake crises, using his military in the streets and the invocation of the Insurrection Act, relying on and arguing that as president he is entitled to judicial preference and deference as to what constitutes an emergency or a national crisis. And if you don't think he can do it with the help of a rogue Nazi Supreme Court, my bet is on him. And with the military in his pocket, the game is certainly over. Game, set, match. Thank you.